Voted as the best TV station of the year. TVC News breaks into the core of every event as they happen. Following all nationwide big and impactful stories, the news you would want to watch.
The TVC News at 7 and the TVC News at 10 are not like any other news broadcast.
It's the big news hour, the hour for the big breaking stories.
We've got some of the
Thank you for staying with us. It's Journalist Hangout on Sunday, and on Sunday we have close to 120 minutes to talk about news and current affairs issues. As our political landscape expands, the need to give more space to women became imperative. President Muhammadu Buhari has instructed the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, and Minister of Police, Women Affairs, that's Pauline Talin, to come up with possible constitutional and legal changes that will create a level playing field for women in politics and governance. President Buhari, who stated this at the inauguration of APC Women Presidential Campaign Committee in Abuja, advised them to resist the temptation of concentrating their campaigns in the Federal Capital Territory. Today, we followed this bill up till when Mrs. Aisha Buhari appeared in the National Assembly, and now we talked about the possibility of legislating, on this particular issue, but we didn't see any move from the federal government. Now that President Muhammadu Buhari has given the directive to the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice and the Minister of Women Affairs to actually look at how it can become something that will be embedded and enshrined in our laws.
It's fair enough the president is thinking along this line, but there's nothing that he can do by way of a legal instrument backing this move, except the National Assembly buys into the idea. When the president's wife and other women went before the National Assembly and the president's wife even bowed before them, we expected some level of reciprocity from the lawmakers. But by the time the issue was tabled before them, they shut it down based on several arguments that, okay, if we say we are to give women extra House of Reps, Senate seats from each state, which constituency will they represent? That was the argument that was used to quash that the efforts of the president's wife and other people. They are arguing which constituency will the women represent, because every lawmaker in the National Assembly, even in the State Assembly, represents a constituency, represents its constituency, but I think the framers of that bill did not bear that in mind. So it's a good thing that the president is appears to be warm to the idea of giving women greater representation, not just in the national executive, but even talking about political positions now, including the National Assembly and the state assemblies. I don't know how they intend to do it, but we need to find out countries like Rwanda that have far more women in their parliament than any country in the world currently. How did they do it? How did they agree to have this system in place whereby women are better represented? What can we do? We look at some states in northern Nigeria, for example. No representation of any sort. House of Assembly, you look at a state that has 44 local government, not one woman managed to even represent one constituency. So especially in the far north, the conversation has to continue so that the men folk will see the need to encourage women, give them more opportunities, because even if we say, look, this thing is right, the attitudes of some people have to change. Because if we continue to see politics as a winner-takes-all affair, a lot of these women don't have the resources that the men have. They don't have the connection that the men have. So when they go to the polls, they will be defeated. It's not as if they don't make efforts, but they get defeated. And in some cases, too, you find that even the women refuse to vote for fellow women. I was saying, when we had the, was it the APC presidential primaries, I was predicting, I said, even the women, I will not vote for one of their own. That has to stop.
When you look at this proposal, and a lot of people will see that, look, this is not too necessary, that it's something that we can evolve with time.
I agree with that. Because when we go back and we start from the 35% affirmative action, have we achieved it? We have not. The other day, the president of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, said it loudly. He said, when he initially came into the Senate, there were more women than we have now.
Yes.
So something is happening. And we actually don't need, in my own opinion, to legislate anything. Because whatever you legislate, it is what is happening on the field, ultimately. Like BKO said, that will determine that. If we don't make conscious efforts, especially in the North, to correct some of these things, this impression that women must be subjugated. In some homes, that's why you have violence. A man says, I'm talking, you are talking.
Sit down there.
Sit down there. It starts from there. We don't see women in this part of the world as people who have equal rights as men. So basically, we must start from there. In some churches, women can't be pastors. They can't get on the pulpit to preach. But some of them are more, in fact, a lot more women are more spiritual than women.
Yes, yes.
They are the ones holding a lot of homes in terms of prayer in our country, not the men. So
and I
then
think
you now
that
say,
even Obasanjo did well by giving women more opportunities.
Yes, opportunities
and more
to make deliberate efforts.
And they did well.
Critical ministries.
Crucially, they did well. All of those women. You look at Amina Mohammed today, who is the second most powerful
Deputy
civil
Secretary
servant
General.
in the world. Second most powerful civil servant in the world by the job that she does at the UN. You look at Okonjo-Iweala. These are all products of the Obasanjo era.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So we have to do our best to improve. In appointive positions, I know you can easily legislate those ones to say a ministerial appointment, this and that, appointive positions. But in the election, for example, is a lot more difficult for our women. I don't know how they can do that.
Joining us via Zoom for more discussion on this is Director of Women Advocacy Research and Documentation Center, WATC, Dr. Abiola Akiode Afolabi. Thank you for joining us, Doc.
Yes, good morning. It's a pleasure being here again, and well done for the good work you do.
Sorry for the late notice. I understand you just get yourself. Thank you for joining us. Now, what we're trying to say is that if there's a kind of legislation to back this women participation in politics, as the president is proposing, will it in any way aid what you've been advocating for?
Well, it's good that the president has woken up to that responsibility, because the canvas for gender equality, it's a developmental canvas. It's not just giving numbers and all of that. It's something that will border on growth and development. Nigeria as a country has committed itself to the SDG 5, the Sustainable Development, the SDG 5 goal, which actually focuses on gender equality. And one would expect that Nigeria would take steps in that regard. I don't think we are very far from it if we are very realistic people. The current constitutional reform process, which is still ongoing, had the opportunity to do that. There were in a very different manner, because for years there has been called for constitutional reform in this country, and never did we have a time when issues of gender become one of the items that the National Assembly would want to legislate upon. But in 2021, it was listed as one of the categories for legislation, and it was called the vulnerable groups, gender and vulnerable groups. So under that, about 5 items were listed for gender equality. And of course, those 5 items came to 4 at the National Assembly, and they were debated upon. And these were items that has to do with affirmative action. One of the bills was speaking to amend Section 48 of the Constitution to increase the number of women in the Parliament, and also Section 49. It proposed 101 seats, and it was arranged in a way that ordinarily shouldn't in any way become problematic, because there's no way we can achieve that affirmative action without legislating on it. In countries where they have made inroad, for example, in Rwanda, where about 63% of parliamentarians today, are women, it's because Rwanda in 1995 had included that in their constitution. If you also go from Rwanda, you go to Uganda, it's the same. In South Africa, where there's also been a lot of increase, and if you look at all those other Scandinavian countries, so legislation, it's a very important, potent tools that we can use to leverage gender equality. I heard you speaking about the challenges that women face in political participation and representation. So it will be very difficult if there's no legislation in that regard to provide for that formal representation for women to be able to achieve it. So one of the things that the Nigerian constitution reform process had raised was the need to provide for 101 seats, and it was arranged in a way that should be convenient for everybody. For instead of 3 senatorial seats, we have 4. One of them will be representing gender constituency, which take care of women, people with disability, and other people. The second one, it's for the House of Rep, and it was asking for 1 more seat, 1 more member, for the House of Rep. And the third was 1 member for the Senate, for the House of Assembly. So if you look at that, that gives about 111. So meaning that in the Senate, we have like 36 more women, and you can imagine where they have just about 9. If we have 9 plus 36, that's quite a lot. It's not a lot, but at least it's significant. Likewise, if we have more in the House of Assembly, House of Rep. So, but these bills were shut down at the National Assembly, both at the Senate and also at the House of Rep. And the House of Rep recommitted to that bill. So if the president is true to his word in terms of increasing representation, there is still an opening, for the president to lobby the House of Rep to reaffirm some part of the bill. The House of Rep came back particularly on the issue of appointment, because normally you wouldn't expect that there will be a problem in saying that there should be 10% or 20% in appointment, which is an executive role, which ordinarily an executive governor or an executive president can do by itself. Yes. You talked about President Jonathan, who had done that at this point. Obasanjo also did that. So one would have expected that, the president will move beyond just rhetorics, to action. And there is still an opening for him to be able to do that with the current constitutional reform process. Okay. As the president of Nigeria.
Abiola, the argument of some of the lawmakers at that time was that a problem will arise as to which constituency a woman, the women will represent.
Yeah.
How do we find a way around that? If this bill were to be represented, for example, because the Constitution expects that each lawmaker will represent a constituency.
I don't think that was much of the problem. I think at the point we were able to negotiate that, because I was very much involved in this conversation. We were able to negotiate that. And that was why we were saying that the woman represents the gender constituency. So in that regard, it's not a matter of, if you look at what happened in Uganda, it doesn't necessarily need to represent a senatorial district, but it can represent the gender constituency. It won't stop other women to contest for the other. So it doesn't then become the only space for women to contest. So Senator Lujimi can still retain her own position. Then there can be another position for that gender constituency. One, because we know that there should be some delineation that will help in arranging that. And if you look at what the constitutional provision was talking about, it was not talking about this happening immediate. It was saying that after this election. So it could have been something that we would have enough opportunity to work out. And it's for 16 years. Meaning that within that 16 years, we'll be able to come back and rearrange it. What I think was the problem was, after we negotiated that, the National Assembly member then became a bit uncomfortable with having a super delegate. Because what it then means is that the senatorial representation will be a senatorial representation for Lagos State, as a gender constituency representative. So meaning that to some of them, they think it's going to be more powerful than having the senatorial district. So it was more of that became the issue. I think at the point they agreed to have it, but they were afraid of having a super delegate, because what it means is that if it's not representing a senatorial district, if it's representing a constituency, then it's representing the entire constituency in Lagos State. So I think, and for us, those are the ways that some of these issues have been resolved in other places, like Uganda, like Uganda, for example, like Rwanda. So they have that assigned to represent a particular constituency. And that was what we were proposing as a compromise at that point in time. But by and large, ordinarily, it should have been, if you look at Kenya. So let's step back a bit and go to Kenya, where they were not even representing gender constituency. The Constitution of Kenya allows for two-thirds of members of Senate. So meaning that then it becomes important for the arrangement to be made. If we say, as we speak today, there is a lot of arrangement being made in the political terrain. Muslim, Christian, Muslim, Northern, Southern. So of course, that can also be made for gender. So if, for example, this constituency brings in women, then it can go to the next. So if we are really ready, it is not as if this arrangement can be made. It's been made in Kenya, and as of today, if you look at Kenya election, there was many women who were emerged as possible as governors, which was not the issue before, until when that constitutional provision comes in. So it's, if we are ready as a giant of Africa, we have enough women. They can name them who can run this position and run it successfully. So if the president is true to his word, he can take a step, and the time is now, because the time is really running out, and the constitutional reform process is ongoing. His wife was at the National Assembly, and we were surprised and embarrassed that despite the lobbying, those bills, 5 of them shot down, particularly in the House of Reps. 5, not even issue of citizenship, not even issue of the indigenship. So how does that affect? How does it affect gender equality issue? That a woman has a right to be able to claim a state of origin where she moves to. If she gets married and she becomes an origin of your state, that she can claim. So why should that be a problem? So it shows the attitude of the National Assembly members, or those who are representing us, on how they see women issues. And that was why we went to the National Assembly. And for goodness sake, we were there for 1 month. At the end of the 1 month, they came to negotiate and said they are going to step down. Honorable Bajabiamila, the Speaker of the House, went down to step down 3 of those bills. And up to today, they have not gone back to vote for it. So it shows how, so if the president wants to support women, he should do that. And please, let me also mention, while doing that, we had a plan B. And the plan B was to go to court to say now that the Nigerian government has signed the National Gender Policy. I was one of the plaintiffs. What was one of the plaintiffs? Signed the national gender policy, and because we have signed, they should ensure that there is 35% of affirmative action in appointment position, and we won in court. Then the government was going to roll out the names of the members of INEC, the commissioners in INEC, and we realized that women were not there. And we wrote a letter, and the next thing the government went to court to go and challenge that decision. And so I see a double speak here, because it's the same attorney general that went to court to challenge the appointment position, and the same precedent that we sued. So please, we don't want to be we don't want to be used to get political votes. So issues of women are much more important, and the country and the president should please take it as a matter of urgency and deal with it. He has every opportunity. Step down the case in court and allow for appointed position. At least that's a step forward, and that will be a legacy that the president can give to us. Maybe the president is not even aware. So the Attorney General should step down that case challenging women's appointments that we have won in court.
But don't you think that this is more of an issue of persuasion than legislation? For instance, this morning I still read a story where the permanent secretary in a state Ministry of Women Affairs was a man. And I was wondering what is happening. Can't we?
As basic as
yes,
as that is.
That even in one of the notices,
Can you imagine?
We are women affairs
ministry. How can the man now?
headed by a man.
The man, even as commissioner, I find it in some
Don't you
states
think there are some cultural problems that need to be
that we
addressed?
need to address.
Well, I think it's an issue, but also it's not an issue. There are a lot of if or she. So if you, because for us, it's not the coinage that matters. It's the substance. It's not the formality of it, but it's the commitment and the political will towards it. There are a lot of men who are feminists who believe in women's affair and all of that. So one would not say it's entirely wrong to have men, standing for women, But there are spaces for women that you would expect to see women, engaging, But we haven't gotten to that level as a country where a man stands for in a woman's position, I think, for example, the permanent secretary, I think it's a position that it's a formal position. So when you get to that level, they choose the highest person, so it can be, at any space, But we have also seen in this country where we have someone contesting for woman leader who is a man. So those are spaces that you would not expect that, men should contest for. But by and large, I think what's important is that we need to be deliberate and intentional, in ensuring that we have more women in politics. Look at all the political parties. Look at the candidates that they are bringing to be up. Look at the the election committees that they are bringing up. You rarely find women there. Whereas in Lagos, we saw the number of men who were on the street. So I think also it's an internal and external thing. Women within the political party must also do more in terms of affirming that right, so that we are not often used for political chess, so that we also affirm our right from within the political parties. And I'm sure a lot of non-profit organizations are working on that. And externally also, it's also important for women to vote women. And this is not only about Nigeria. I know you are mentioning the fact that some women don't vote women, but I know that there are also men who don't vote some men too. So I think it's also about the political service. So we can't just blame them by bringing them, out of the society and expecting them to act differently. So it is for us to make sure that we also have women who can really deliver, because women cannot run Nigeria the way the men are running it. Women cannot, So any woman who is coming to position must also know that they must be substantive leader. They must be leaders that are transformative. So it's a measure of quality and quantity, that we are canvassing for. And that's where we want to see the kind of transformative change that we are talking about. But we keep working on it. But for the president, this is a time. We will follow up with his promise. We will write to him, we'll write to the Attorney General to say it is time to take that action. Withdraw the case at the National Assembly. The president can have more appointments for women. And we are also working to ensure that the current presidential candidates will start from now. So there is a conference coming up on the 25th where we are inviting all the presidential candidates to make a vow to commit to women, which is being organized by Radio Nigeria. So we're all going to be there. demanding, because we have realized that it's not a child's play anymore. We can't continue to remain in a country where our dignity is not an issue, where our integrity is not an issue, where our representation, voice, and influence is being compromised on a daily basis. We will continue to ask for gender equality, because that is what can make Nigeria a better country. So it is one of the things that we need to do, and we are committed to doing that.
I want to thank you, Dr. Abiola Akiode Afolabi, Director of Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center. Thank you for sparing your time.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for bringing me.
Dr. Akiode, a Luta woman. She's been a student union activist since her days in the University of Ife, and always at the vanguard of women emancipation. Look, in my church now, women are not allowed to mount the pulpit to give sermon. They can do every other thing, like cultural traditional thing.
In my church, they are allowed. And
We
my wife
don't allow it
preaches
as a matter
many
of
times.
maybe doctrine.
So those are doctrinal issues. But some churches allow them to get to the very top. There is very little difference between a man and a woman. It's the same brain that God gave us. It's the same brain. There is no brain meant for the woman. It's just the same brain. And physiologically too, we are very similar. So this equality thing, women shouldn't even be begging for it. When you look at the record of the women, those of them who have been given the opportunity to serve, they've done well. They've done well. I agree with her that women won't run Nigeria the way the men are running it.
Exactly.
I agree absolutely with her, and I have no shame in saying that. That I don't believe that women will run Nigeria as badly as the men are running our country. They are far more compassionate, far more merciful than to run our country in this manner. And we've seen Obasanjo gave women a chance. Who was that woman that Obasanjo gave a chance that didn't excel? One stood up to the House of Reps the other day, Aruma Ote. Every time I look at that video, I say, this woman.
Correct.
No, that's the way we should fight corruption. Stand up to somebody bent on looting our patrimony. And that was what that woman did. She was not scared. She did, yes, Aruma Ote. She was punished for it. But it doesn't matter. She was punished. Because they used their power, but at least she's happy that she satisfied her conscience.
All right, and finally, honesty, they say, is the best policy, and despite the fact that we are living in a debased society, it still pays to be honest. The life of Josephine Ugu, a janitor at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, is an example. Josephine became famous for picking and returning money lost by passengers at the airport. So far, she has picked and returned about 3 billion naira lost by passengers at the airports. A year after, Babajide Kolade Toju and other guests called on government to honor Mrs. Ugu on journalist Hangout on the 3rd of October 2021. President Muhammadu Buhari honored her with a national award of Federal Republic Medal, FRM2. In our journalist Hangout weekend special, we give you updates on her life in this story by TVC News, Nelson Etta.
It was exactly 1 year ago that I embarked on a 2-day journey to speak with Mrs. Josephine Ugu at her home in Ayobo, a Yanekwaja area of Lagos.
The first time we're meeting the husband. This is your husband, I suppose?
Yes, he's my husband.
Josephine, a janitor at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, became famous for picking and returning money lost by passengers. For instance, she once found and returned $7 million, $8 million in 2014, and $12 million in 2015, all left by passengers at the airport. The total is about 3 billion naira. On my visit to her home last year, she told me the story of how she finds lost money while on duty right from her days as a contract staff at the Enugu airport with a salary of 7,800 naira per month.
It started the year 2014. In short, it started in Enugu Airport the year 2006 when I was working in an airline.
So the ones in Lagos wasn't actually your first?
No, the first one.
In Enugu too, was it
the
dollars or naira notes?
It's naira notes. It's the biggest Ghana must go. The person is traveling, so he forgot to close their boots. You see, so as I forget my walking talkie because I'm security in airline, so I go back because our office is in Tamak, in Kapak. So I'm going there, I see that boot is open. I pick my walking talkie, look, that is Ghana must go, and the zip has tears. I see if I leave this thing, this out, they will come and pick it up because there's nobody.
How much was the second one in Lagos?
70 million. 7 million.
7 million?
Yes.
Again, this was in dollars?
Equivalent to dollars.
Yes, yes. Yeah. That one also, you were cleaning the airport?
Yes, I'm a cleaner. And that time my salary is 7,800.
When you say that time, does it mean your salary has changed now?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Immediately this thing happened, Federal Airport Authority picked me up, employed me. I'm a federal government staff now, Federal Airport Authority.
So before now, you were not a staff of the government?
No, I'm a contract staff. I'm working as a cleaner.
To ensure that this extraordinarily honest Nigerian gets the recognition she deserves, Babajide Kononotitoju and other guests called on government to honor Mrs. Ugu on journalist hangout of 3rd of October 2021.
Government has not deemed it fit to recognize her properly and reward her for extraordinary honesty. We call it extraordinary honesty because this is rare.
This is rare in Nigeria.
No one 4 times on the bounce found hefty sums of money. Hefty sums, beginning from her time in Enugu State. Hefty sums of money 4 times at the airport.
It's shameful, really, because in this country, the people we reward are people with moral baggages, with political positions. You know,
we give them national awards.
National awards.
This woman deserves to be among those to bag national award the next time.
Exactly.
We are going to do it.
They emphasized that she should be made an ambassador of integrity.
The moment this woman was found, we should have used her as a veritable example for other people. We should have rewarded her in a way that everyone will see that it pays to be honest.
A year after, President Muhammadu Buhari heeded that call and honored Mrs. Ugu with a national award of Federal Republic Medal, FRM 2nd category.
Ms. Josephine Agu.
National honors are not merely decorative. They remind us of an important part of our responsibility as citizens. We must always endeavor to do our best for our country.
Who says honesty does not pay? Nelson Etta, TVC News, Lagos.
She stood, okay, let me quote in the Bible. Seest thou a diligent man in his business, shall stand before kings and not ordinary men.
Yes.
So this woman, a contract staff, earning 7,000 naira at a point in time, has gotten a presidential handshake and
a national award. And a national award.
Honest.
Yes, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I would have been very disappointed in this government if this woman was not honored. And it makes me happy. When I say that the job we do is the best, people think it's all about money. No, it's not all about money.
Yes, sir.
When
we talk,
you can be
we set
an agent
agenda
of change.
Yes.
When you can be a catalyst for change in a manner that delivers joy to other people.
Yes.
Your day is made.
Honestly.
Honestly,
that we advocated for this, we called for this.
Since when this thing had happened, she
last
had been
year.
ignored.
And this is the only national award.
Look, we are not going to talk about any other person that got award.
No. As in this administration, I can't remember the last time.
How many of them get awards that they don't even deserve? But that is not even what.
For President Buhari, I think this is the first time I will be seeing in this administration. I don't know. Dr.
See, this person, as far as I'm concerned, when you are talking about self-contentment, she does not have money. They abused her, they called her name, they said, you are a fool. You will never be rich again in your life. You know, God gave you anointing to be able to find money. You are finding money up and down, and you are going to deliver money. Now, when these people come, the maximum they give you is 5 naira. Continue to take that 5 naira. When you had the opportunity to become a billionaire. That she did not listen to idiots who wanted her to be just another discredited Nigerian. Is credit to her. It means that, look, you can dine with kings, as the Bible said, without necessarily being rich. This opportunity that she has had now in some rich people's lifetime,
most Nigerians, they don't have this kind of.
They will not get a presidential shake. They will not get a federal government.
You can't even smell the president.
Even with the money that they have
to see the president.
Oh, look at how many people are there. They just about 400 and something Nigerians who are honored out of thousands that were shortlisted. That this woman could even be amongst them, as poor as she is. Her salary now is around 18,000 after she became a federal government worker. 18,000. What is 18,000 in today's Nigeria?
Oh, she was given that employment.
Yes, on account of that
contract staff to farm staff.
Yes. But my argument and the argument of all of us was that it shouldn't stop at that she deserved the national award, so that we can send a message to other people that honesty pays. If we are honest as a people, those stealing our billions, they won't be stealing it now. It's a direct message to people in government who are stealing.
The best policy.
It's a direct message, because you have so much money, yet you are not contented, you are stealing. But here is a woman on 7,000 naira per month, and later 18,000 is still not real money. Yet she chose not to steal. So for people who are stealing,
is not in her DNA.
It's a choice that people make to steal. It's not about, the
condition of the country
is hard. Things are tough, my brother. And then you chose to steal. No.
That temptation, when you calculate how much the dollar is now, and you know what you are going to do before you carry your phone and you do the arithmetic.
It's
a very hostile environment like Nigeria.
It's life-changing. Because like I said to people, anybody who even in this country can raise the kind of money that people raise to flee abroad, 3 million, 4 million, 5
9 million, 8 million, 9 million now.
To flee.
10 million.
That person can do well in this country. Not to talk of someone who had access to this kind of money. Even if we do the arithmetic in terms of what the dollar was then, that money would still have amounted to over $1 billion.
Yes. So it was even billions back then.
Yes, it was billions back then. So it made a lot of sense for her to have taken that money. Even when you look at where she stays in Lagos, Ayobo, outskirts. That money would have gotten her a good place in Ikeja with the family.
They would have bought a house.
Conveniently.
And they would have had maybe a part of it to rent out. And So it shows that it was something that she set out to do. It was something that didn't even occur to her, that she should take what belongs to others. And like it was said on the program of October 3, she deserves it. Because we don't, even people who don't have access to money that they see, they go ahead to steal, because people take from our commonwealth. It's not as if they found it as cash.
They have money, yes, they still chose to steal.
You understand? It's not as if they have it as cash.
But they still chose to steal.
Yes, exactly.
They steal money that they cannot finish spending in 2 lifetimes.
That generation.
Or 3 lifetimes. Agreed.
We still say it in this, that there's light at the end of the tunnel for this country. That
No,
we
that's
still have
why,
Nigerians.
that's why some of us have not given up on our country.
No, we still have Nigerians. Look at, I don't know, maybe I've not authenticated this story, but saying the registrar of JAM, saying that, look, they should stop giving them that convention they used to give them, federal government, that they have enough to spend in their this thing. That
Yes.
do you understand? That some people, this same JAM,
Yes,
over
enough
years,
money.
that they've been stealing money. So set people corruption.
Lying against snakes.
This man has been returning money to the
Just
federal
because
government.
the snake cannot answer you. You accuse the snake wrongly of
For years,
of
JAM,
eating money.
a non-profit making organization, JAM has been returning just for this man to just.
Professor Oloyede set an exemplary example, and I'm happy that the president gave him a second term. You know, Ayo, this person, 18,000 naira per month, up till now. That's not a real salary in the sense. Even the minimum wage,
It's 30,000.
is higher than that.
30,000 will not even do you anything.
Now,
Will
what
not
is
do anything,
30,000?
no.
Yes,
We're talking about a
he
bag of
chose
rice
not
for
to
70,000.
steal. Yes, he chose. I've said it. You know, there was another policeman too that was honored.
Yes.
Who rejected dollars.
$200,000. $200,000.
There are
200,000. Yes,
see,
okay.
I have a friend. I have a friend in the U.S. who believes that every policeman is a thief. And I've told him, I said, no, I have met policemen that you can't bribe. And you can't offer them women because in some cases when they see that, oh, well, this person is weak with women, instead of giving him money, you rather send a woman. You know? Women bring people down. Remember Jimmy Swaggart, who will fill arenas. Probably the greatest televangelist of his generation. Yeah. It was a woman that they sent to him. Now, this friend of mine said, every policeman is corrupt. I said, it's a lie. There are some you can't bribe. Bring your money, they will reject it and arrest you. There are examples like that. Look at that person. We've talked about Femina Adeoye many times.
Yes, many
Look
times.
at that guy now. He too got an award along with Josephine. Yes, but you know why Josephine's own is a great example. Not once. Not twice. Not three times. Did she face that temptation and she conquered the temptation each and every occasion? Not many people can do that. Let's tell ourselves the truth.
Not many.
Because if you do it once, people will come and meet you that, oh, no. You too, you have a rethink.
You just 2 times, 3 times?
No.
4th time?
These are the kind of stories that I hear and then I begin to shed tears.
Yes.
It's moving.
Even at the point when I watched the president, I had to restrain myself.
I feel
it's
like
a very moving story.
Moving one. Somebody earning that kind of money and you see what can change your life.
Yes.
And you resist that temptation.
In this kind of hostile country.
Hostile environment.
She has done very well.
People will abuse her till tomorrow. They are abusing her.
Of course they will, even as we speak.
But that is their problem. She chose honesty over dishonesty.
And today,
God will bless her tremendously for that, because we've been
and
preaching
bless
that.
her family for not moving against her, because some men would have driven her out of the house.
Honestly,
for not bringing that money.
For not bringing the money home. Some men would have done that.
Yeah, husband.
Yes. And we have to commend the husband.
This good for nothing woman.
We have to commend the husband too. Yes,
we must,
for standing by her.
Yes,
all true.
Because it's a great lesson. Some women encourage their husbands. Some women when they catch their husbands for stealing, for armed robbery, they will say they don't know the job he does. But you know he goes out at night. And in the morning he brings back money.
And they want to enjoy the money.
Yes, and you
as Jesus said, you want to enjoy the money. I shouldn't go there. Because when you have anything to make life easier.
Everybody likes a good life.
Nobody does. There's nobody who does not.
All right, you want to say congratulations again.
You listen to us.
Yes, sir.
You gave her that award.
Yes.
We are grateful, Mr. President, for making that happen.
Congratulations.
People have watched the program and failed to do anything.
Yes.
Nothing will happen. You know.
And those that are noted. Congratulations
the people shortlisted
again.
her too. God bless them for even shortlisting her and recommending her. to the president. We are grateful.
Congratulations
Nigeria will
to
be
Josephine
great again.
Ugu.
What does Fumi always say now? That Monica.
May Nigeria be...
May Nigeria succeed or something?
Yeah, may Nigeria succeed. Yeah, Fumi Adewola say, may Nigeria succeed.
May Nigeria succeed.
May Nigeria succeed. We're proud of you, Josephine Ugu, the janitor from the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria. Yes. I want to thank you, Dotun. Thank you for this edition. And BQ, it's the Sunday edition. Thank you for another wonderful direction.
Do it together.
And that's our package today. Join us tomorrow for our regular episode of Journalist Hangout by 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozuba. See you tomorrow by 5 p.m.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
Monkeypox is caused by a virus of same name that is closely related to now eradicated smallpox. The likely symptoms of monkeypox are fever, headache, muscle aches, back pain, low energy, rash, swollen lymph nodes, among others. How does the monkeypox virus get spread? You can get the virus through close contact with an infected person and also through physical contact with an infected animal. To get monkeypox treatment, you need to see a physician. Here are the steps to protect yourself from monkeypox virus. Step 1. Avoid close contact with suspected or confirmed monkeypox cases. Step 2. Avoid physical touch with animals who could be infected. Step 3. Frequently clean and disinfect environments that could have been contaminated. We all need to join hands together to protect ourselves from this virus. This campaign is brought to you by TVC Communication.
Revived and re-engineered. That's the new reality in Nasarawa State under the leadership of Governor Abdullahi Sule, who is repositioning the state for greatness and empowering lives with the Nasarawa Economic Development Strategy. From education to agriculture and infrastructure, Engineer Abdullahi Sule is exceeding expectations with his clear-cut Nasarawa agenda. Find out more on Nasarawa Focus, Mondays, 8:30 p.m.
When shippers groan under the weight of ceaseless charges that tend to